Bison take on the South Dakota State Jackrabbits in an FCS playoff rematch. Our coverage begins at 6 on your home for Bison football.
Champions play here. News Talk, 1250 AM, KBRF.
From the lakes to the plains to anywhere in the world, KBRFradio.com and the Fergus Now app. News Talk 1250 AM KBRF, Fergus Falls.
News Talk 1250 KBRF now presents The Coaches Show with Craig Olson. Brought to you by Nelson Auto Center, Quality Toyota, LB Homes, American Federal Bank, American Legion, the Minnesota Motor Company, and by the Arneson Agency. Here's KBRF Sports Director Craig Olson.
Rachel Toole is down at state with the True Team State swim and dive meet, so she will not be with us today. But Derek Meyer starts the program, the boys cross-country coach at Fergus Falls High School. They're coming off their Central Lakes Conference meet, which was extraordinary, and they've got the section meet coming up Thursday, which the Otters have high hopes for as well. Derek, congratulations on a great Central Lakes Conference meet. You guys were amazing last week.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the boys put it down. They knew the expectation coming in. They know what they wanted to do, and they executed. They even made some upsets and some positioning coming in. Jaden Miller, ranked number 4 coming in. He fought to the end and pushed himself to a photo finish with just his lean. He got second, beating out Ben Stedham for Brainerd, and he had a season best there too. So yeah, this has been an awesome season, and just kind of reflecting on this doesn't always happen with this much success, and we can't just expect it to happen. And what a way to welcome Detroit Lakes into the Central Lakes Conference too. Those that didn't know that we have added the 10th team, Detroit Lakes, into our conference. So they said that they enjoyed the higher competition into their conference, and welcome the
opportunity to compete there.
Absolutely.
That's what makes what you did even more impressive to me, I think, and to people who have observed what you've done from afar. Maybe the Central Lakes Conference, you've got some big schools in there, and teams that have some depth in their student body to be able to choose athletes from, or have athletes compete in their sport. And you had all 5 of your runners who scored earn all conference honors, and then the 6th runner across the finish line who doesn't score team points for you that day, Micah Mosier, was all conference honorable mention. I mean, that's got to be rare, Derek, to see that happen. Yeah,
it's just a testament to the strength of our team and how we're doing. Yeah, I would say rare, because usually it's pretty spread out, and Brainerd and Sartell are a class above us. They're right. Bigger school districts. And yeah, I think a lot of those St. Cloud teams have a larger school district and enrollment population, but maybe they just aren't having their numbers, or it's just not their year or something like that. But everybody's got their studs, and everybody kind of scatters them in there. So yeah, it's very amazing to have such a high power team and having all those accolades for our one group.
Speaking of studs, Sully Inez from Wilmer, is he finally a senior, I hope?
Yep, he is a senior.
He's one of those guys, isn't he? You look at the roster when you're going to a meet like this. He's still there, He's been there forever.
Well, we have one of those on our girls' side, so
you do.
We won't go too far on that. But yeah, Sully Inez is he powered through another amazing run, and yeah, he's looking forward to making some damage at the state meet, because he's kind of been battling with Bjorn Anderson of Perm, and he's actually gotten Bjorn the past 2 times, which wasn't the case in the past couple of seasons. Usually Bjorn would kind of outkick him. So yeah, that'll be exciting to see that come through.
Well, let's talk about your guys. Jaden Miller was second. and you had Henry Grenigal 6th, the Logan Bradenburg 10th, Michael Schmidt was 12th, Brody Nelson was 15th. Those are the five that made all conference for you. And, you know, one of the goals, I think, for every team and every individual runner at this time of the year is I want my personal best. I want to get my best time ever in this meet. Did that happen?
That happened for several of them. You know, I'm going to probably drop down to our Brody Nelson in his season. Not only did he have his season best, he's cracking into our all-time otter times of he's pushed himself up now. He was 20th, now he's 17th on the list of, you know, passing some of the all-time otter greats for cross country. So he is having an amazing season, and just kind of he's coming out of nowhere. And you look at some of the stats of when they were younger and what they were going to be, and you know, Brody wasn't quite the top tier of things, but he's kind of showing what hard work and being in the weight room and being fit and being ready will provide you, because it doesn't always just take being athletic talented to be in the top. So
how much does being around these seniors, these guys who have put in the time and have kind of demanded that the rest of the team get out there and do it too, how much has that helped Brody in his development this year?
I think a lot. A lot of mentorship, a lot of leadership, you know, leading by example. You know, we're not going to take one rep off. We're gonna do the highest amount that we can do for our workout, and just putting himself up there. Because I did notice that in the beginning of the season he was a little hesitant to kind of jump in there, but I think he gained some confidence with some races, and he jumped in there with the training with the group and being with the pack, and it's proof is in the pudding right there.
We hear a lot, Derek, these days in sports about the culture of the program, and the seniors here, I think, have done it by example. I think the underclassmen are seeing the payoff from the hard work these seniors put in, and you hope as a head coach that you know, transforms them into the same type of mindset as to what it's going to take for them to try to attain the level that these guys have attained. Because in the summer, you can't coach them every day and see them every day and make sure they're doing their work or whatever. They've got to kind of take it on themselves.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the hard part, is just kind of their accountability in the summer. But yeah, our youth and our junior high is a very exciting. They have a second place finish. They were off by about 10 points, and you know, we had another exciting finish with Dexter Fellstool. He had almost a photo finish there of finishing there, and Dexter's finishing the season at the PR and his season best, and I think the best recent otter 2-mile time. So he's gonna be a name and a person to kind of see when he moves up into the 5K as a 9th grader next year. He'll be a contributor probably almost immediately.
You guys have a target on your back as a team, obviously. You just won the conference title. You're going to be right there at the section meet trying to get that section championship. Top 2 teams go to state. The Otters are one of the teams that's probably right there in the mix and thought to be one of the favorites. Your kids don't seem to mind that. They kind of thrive on that favorite role?
Yeah, they enjoy it. They want it. And kind of come and get it, I guess, is you know, they're gonna put it out there. They're also chasing you know, Perm.
Right.
Perm's our top team in the section, and they want so bad to get ahead of them. And you know, when that's the iron sharpens iron, when you're trying to go after one of the top teams in the state, and you know, you're gonna push yourselves. And so it's gonna be an exciting meet on Thursday in Detroit Lakes.
So the Detroit Lakes course is one the Otters have not minded running. It's changed a little bit. I know you talked about it when you ran there earlier this year. It's maybe not as hilly. They've taken a hill out of the course. How does the course play for your guys' strategies in their races?
Oh, I think it's going to be just fine. Yeah, they did change some things in the course, but in the reflection of it after the month or so that we haven't been there is there's still hills, and it's not It's not flat. So it I think will be some of a shock to some of the teams that are coming in with their PRs off of some of the flattest courses in the state, and they're not going to run their fastest times on Thursday. But honestly, for a team portion, times don't matter. It's where you place and how many points you get.
Yeah, one or two right now too. Let's get to state and see what we can do there, right?
Yep, absolutely.
So what do you do training-wise between now and Thursday? Obviously, the heavy training is past now. You want people to be healthy. You got to keep them, ready to go for the competition. But how much do you back off here? We hear taper all the time in swimming, and I'm sure it applies to cross-country too.
Yep, it's a fine line of how much do you take off. We take off volume, but we crank up intensity.
Yeah.
We're like the race car, it's
Sure.
not trying to put the miles on, but we're trying to run some of our fastest times to get our legs to turn over and be used to racing that fastest part of what we will be experiencing when we're pushing our body to its limit.
Back to the stud talk we were talking about earlier. Cassie Wellman on the girls' side, just an outstanding season, amazing season. In fact, when I saw that she finished second, I had to do a double take. Like, what? Because there's some good runners out there. You get to conferences, section time. Cassie's going to get tested now. She's had some races this year where she just was way out ahead of the field. That's not going to happen in this race that just happened or coming up on Thursday. But Cassie's had such a great year and has to be considered, one of the top runners in the state right now.
Yep, she is. She's been in the rankings for the top 10. I think maybe even top 2. Lauren Eilers, who beat her, she was she's kind of coming into her own of fitness. But in reflection after the race, Cassie just said, "I just kind of didn't have it in that last mile," and they were neck and neck for a long time, maybe until the last 800 of the race. So, and Cassie's taken her in a couple of races and kind of put her away. So it's, it's kind of, you say it, but you can't have it every race, and why not have it at a different race instead of the conference meet, I guess. And she's just had a different profile of how she's been racing, and it's awesome to have her being in that front pack and leading and doing those things, and this was probably a good thing too, to kind of experience a little bit of challenge instead of having to run all by yourself and finish to her. So it's good to be pushed.
It's hard. It's kind of hard to think that here she is a sophomore, but boy, she's got state experience. She's got real competitive experience at a top level already as a sophomore. She's been to state twice. And that has to help, I would think. The mental toughness is hard to teach, isn't it? I mean, you either have it or you don't. Yeah.
I mean, you can teach some of it, but it's to a degree. But there's definitely the toughness and drive, and you got to want it too. And
right.
That's definitely something that she does. So
yeah.
And we've got another name. I don't know if you were, Carson Lill. She is. Yep, she's finished tennis now, and she's ready to rip. And she had a big PR. She had a 1942, I think, was her race, and that put her in the mix for kind of being in that individual 6 to qualify. So she might not quite be there, but she's gonna have more to drop on her time, because she just obviously when you're in tennis, you're training for tennis stuff, and now she's starting to get some of her fitness to be in for cross country. So that's going to be really exciting for her possibilities and what she's going to have.
Not bad to be all conference when you haven't been with the team, training regularly all year. So that's pretty good accomplishment. And then Savannah Lee, thank you. Boy, what's her last name? Savannah Lee got all conference honorable mention too.
Yeah, and her and Carson have been kind of pacing buddies, and she's done a great job of stepping up and continuing to be consistent. She might not have had her personal best, but it's still great to be up there and close to what you've been capable of.
Well, it's going to be exciting to see how it plays out on Thursday in Detroit Lakes. Good luck to the Otters. Congratulations to the boys on their third straight Central Lakes Conference championship. What a great run that is. And, we wish you the best. Keep everybody healthy, right? That's the key. So.
No, absolutely. Thank you, Craig.
Hey, thanks, Derek. Derek Meyer, boys cross-country coach at Fergus Falls High School, joining us this morning. We'll take time out and come back with more as we continue the program here on News Talk 1250 KBRF and streaming live through the Fergus Now app.
Portions of today's program may be pre-recorded.
I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with your forecast from the KBRF Weather Center. A dense fog advisory remains in effect. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times, with fog in spots early today, with daytime highs approaching 62. West winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Clear skies tonight, lows dip down to about 48. Ample sunshine expected tomorrow, daytime highs approaching 76. Currently, it's 48 degrees.
Here's to a great season for all our favorite high school athletes. American Legion is a favorite too and serves up everyone's favorite barbecued ribs. American Legion of Fergus Falls, open each Wednesday through Saturday on Pebble Lake Road in Fergus Falls.
Student athletes have their eyes on the ball, making game plans, scoring points, breaking records. At American Federal in Fergus Falls, we know you have goals too. Whether it's buying farmland, business expansion, home ownership, or planning for retirement. Our trusted advisor, Dustin Morris, will help you find the best solutions and make the right calls. Make a winning appointment with an American Federal banker in Fergus Falls today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Quality Toyota is proud to salute the achievements of each quality player. It takes teamwork to compete, and the Quality Player Award recognizes the extra effort by an individual in each athletic contest. Quality Toyota commends the hard work, dedication, and quality efforts of these outstanding youth. That attitude will help each quality player as they go forward. Congratulations to each of the quality players from Quality Toyota on West Lincoln Avenue in Fergus Falls. QualityToyota.net. Let's go places.
Welcome back to the program as we welcome Shane Tilke, the defensive coordinator for the unbeaten Fergus Falls Otter football team. Boy, that sounds nice, doesn't it, Shane?
That does have a nice ring to it, Craig.
Hope we can keep saying that, right? Well, you had a battle with the unbeaten Morris area, Chicago, Alberta, unbeaten before you had the battle, but the Otters won that game. Final score was 43-20, and, you know, your defense has been so good all year. You've just had outstanding consistency on your defensive team. And let's start with that, just talking about that defense for a minute. Why have you been so effective, so efficient? What do you think drives this defense?
You know, really, there's a spirit you got to have internally to play football in general. And then when you're on the defensive side of the ball, you just have to have the right core group of guys that understands what you're trying to do schematically, but also then is able to make adjustments and adapt on the fly, because teams are going to obviously have film and they're going to have a game plan that's supposedly going to counter your defensive game plan. So what our guys have been really great at this year is mentally preparing each week, because there's a different game plan each week. The teams that we play, there's a lot of differences in what they do, but there's a lot of similarities. So just, you know, diving into the studying part throughout the week, watching film, and then execution is always the big part. You know, you can do all the work during the week, but executing on Friday night when the opponent's wearing a different color and they're coming at you pretty hard, being able to do that. And for us, I think really to answer your question, Craig, is the experience we bring back. You know, when I watch film, I watch a lot of film, obviously of the current year, but you look back at last year and you look at what they did to get at you and how they were able to maybe compromise you a little bit. And a lot of the same player last names and jersey numbers are out there for the last couple of years, and some of them even 3-year starters as seniors now. So that experience certainly plays a huge benefit as well.
Is this a defensive unit that can make adjustments on the fly pretty well during the heat of the battle? When you get them over there on the sidelines, when the offense is out there and you're trying to talk about adjustments that you need to make because of what the opponent is doing, do they grasp that and make it happen?
Yeah, you know, and that's been a really fun part. You know, as a coach, you sometimes get locked up in your own head and you know, you're battling your own thoughts and what you're seeing. You're not out there between the white lines. And I would say really the best conversations happen during the game and during halftime. And quite honestly, this year it's come from our defensive linemen. You know, guys like Dane Hastings and Isaac Mock. coming off to the sideline, just saying, hey, this is they're getting to us here. If we just adjust this front and slide a guy here or play, we call an under front where we ran opposite of what the strength would be because Morris was getting to us on the edge, and we had a 3 technique out there on the edge on the weak side, and we changed it to a 4. And just those types of conversations, you can tell the guys have been in the trench and they understand exactly what it is we're trying to do. And when they're out there and they're experiencing it and come back and they can verbalize it, we can make those adjustments. And our halftime adjustments the last few weeks have really come from a lot of the kids that are playing.
You know, the game the other night started off not the way you want it to start off. A turnover on the offense's first possession, and all of a sudden you're trying to defend a short field, 13 yards or something. That's kind of a tough assignment right out of the gates.
Right. Yeah. That was their second drive because their first turnover was that interception that happened probably, I want to say it was around the 35, 40 yard line. I can't quite remember where. And so we had a little more breathing room there, not as much as we'd like. And I think making that stop on that very first turnover was huge for our defense. We usually like to start the game on defense. That's one of our strategies, which is a lot of team strategies. Defer to the second half, and while your offense is then lubed up, they can go out there and maybe get a score early in the third quarter. But having to flip that switch, play defense, getting that stop was huge. And then when they came back and had the second short field, I think it was on the 13-yard line. I think that might have mentally dinged our guys a little bit because here we go. Our game plan going in as a team, limit mistakes, don't give them opportunities that they haven't earned. In those 2 turnovers in the first quarter just by happenstance, put our backs against the wall, and it can work for or against you. And the first time it worked for us because we got some momentum back, and the second time they got that touchdown. And I think for us, we all know how explosive our offense is.
Right.
So just if we can limit Morris's opportunities on the short field, we knew we'd be right where we wanted to be. And halftime basically was a 0-0 game again, 14-14, and we felt like we could get some things fixed for the second half. And if our adjustments worked, we knew we were in good shape.
Yeah, let's talk about that. The discussion at halftime is 14-14. You've already had a couple of really difficult possessions defensively where you had to stop them or try to keep them out of the end zone. What did you talk about? Because as you mentioned, you've done very well in the second halves this year, and gave up 6 points in the second half against a Morris area team that can score points.
Yeah, they can. They've got weapons. They're an explosive offense. I feel just from watching the film, playing them last year, what their strategy seems to be more of how long can they maintain the ball through a possession to keep other teams' offenses off the field. And so we use that to our advantage defensively, knowing that we kind of do the bend but don't break philosophy and then make a play when you get a chance to make one. And so at halftime, really, it was just stick to the plan, make sure that guys were true to their assignments. A lot of times if, your push comes to shove, guys kind of look over their shoulder and want to do the job for somebody else. And, when you jump over a gap or when you try to take over somebody else's coverage, you create a gap where you were supposed to be, and just reminding the guys of what we worked on, not only just this week, but really all season. Of trusting each other and trusting the process. Don't get so focused on the outcome, but really the process, and win the one-on-one battles, win the series, win the quarter, win the game. And so just taking smaller pieces of it. So, kids get kind of locked into looking at the end result, and we weren't ready for that yet. Let's go out and, get that first score on offense. We're starting with the ball, turn us back over to defense. Let's get a quick 3 and out, limit them to first downs, and give our offense chances to score. And that's kind of played out.
A lot of teams have 9, 10 guys going both ways out there, which makes it difficult for a defensive coordinator when the offense is out there to get his guys together on the sideline because they're out there playing offense. Otters have some of that going on, but it seems like this year there's more flexibility there, more depth, maybe better experience, deeper on the roster. Has that been a real benefit for this team, not having to have 10 or 11 guys out there all the time on offense and defense?
Yeah, it really plays huge dividends, especially late in the season. It just limits opportunities for guys to get dinged up. Obviously fatigue sets in, but by this point in the season, a lot of these guys are in pretty good football shape. For us, over the course of time, dating back to my days as a football coach in Alexandria and then my 15, 16 years here, if you can limit the number of linemen that are playing both ways, linemen really set the tone for your offense getting rolling, protecting the quarterback, creating holes for your running backs, and just really controlling the line of scrimmage. So we really focus on that, off season into preseason into the season, is how can we make sure our linemen are are going to be able to get off the field, whether they're a two-way starter, but getting them breaks on certain downs or certain packages. So you look at, Isaac Mock and Nolan Field don't play on our offensive line full time. They're role players if need be. Dane Hastings never has to come off the field. I don't think I've ever seen that kid tired in my life. And he just wants to be out there, needs to be out there. So he's one of those guys that you can trust to do that. Henry Bethel's kind of the same thing. You'll go back to the secondary. Henry's best when he's playing the game, and he does not like to watch the game, and we're a better football team when Henry's playing. So, you kind of hold your breath sometimes. You're putting your best offensive player that's got the ball in his hands every play out there on defense, but really that's where he belongs, is on the field. So we try to pay attention to that. Some teams are obviously going to try to block him harder, or they seek him out. I think that's one of the things we noticed right away a week ago with Thief River. And so we pulled Henry off a little bit more, much to his dismay. But, that's part of the game of football, too, is knowing where and how to use your guys so that you're making the best decisions for the whole team.
Talking about Henry and how he can make things happen offensively, and he did. Again, the other night, had some great numbers, 9 of 15 throwing for 171 yards, a couple of touchdown passes, ran the ball for 138 yards on 17 carries, scored a couple of times. Those are pretty impressive numbers. And the thing is, Henry, the offense revolves around Henry. And like you said, he's got the ball in his hands a lot. But there's a lot of different playmakers on that team. And we're starting to see the emergence of the variety of weapons that you have offensively, with the Frawning boys coming on and contributing like they are, and Levi King and Jack Gratz. And there's a lot of weapons there.
Yeah, we are very, very fortunate. As when I look at it from the defensive mindset, and we talked about it through two-a-days, I really had no answers to stop our number one offense when we were out there playing a scout defense using our own schematics, because we didn't have, film of an opponent to use their defensive fronts. And part of it is at a disadvantage because my dudes on defense are out there playing offense. So it's hard to, match those things up. But really, just the balance that we have, from, like you mentioned, from Henry to the Frawning boys, and you got Levi and Jack Ratz and Alex Ellison, Isaiah Holmes. It's fun. And, again, everything's defensive minded for me. We try to identify the top one or two players on our opponent's team, and we say, what, like I'll use DL Week as an example, stop their quarterback, we win the game, that type of deal. And we knew that if we could stop Morris's quarterback or limit him, because he's a great runner, patience in the pocket, he'll find Asmus if he can get open. If we can limit those opportunities, I don't know how you approach that when you play the Fergus Falls Otters right now.
Right.
There's just so much talent, so much experience, so much depth, and Henry's really great about finding those guys at the right times, and you just kind of, it's mind blowing. You're like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do here? We had, I think, 3 big third down conversions in one of those late drives against Morris on Wednesday night, and one time it's Jack Ratz, and one time it's Alex Ellison, one time it's Henry, break and contain and running the ball, and I don't know how you stop that.
Yeah, good point. If you don't know who's going to.
Right.
But, and the line is so good, too. I mean, talk about the weapons we have, but, it all starts with that line like you talked about defensively.
Yep, that's been the biggest difference maker for us as a program. You got to tip your cap to Ike Carlson and Chris Grabowska for the transformation they made in our weight room, just physically over the winter months last winter, to get guys buying back into the program that we're running, and our linemen wrapped their arms around it, embraced it from November, December on through the summer into the season. And you look at those guys, and they transformed their bodies. They've made the biggest impact. And you add back the fact that you got Steve Olson coaching those guys, who's just a lineman's dream as a coach, because he just he sees the game so vividly from that perspective, with something that I don't see. And just putting all those puzzle pieces together made for a perfect storm. And you got Christian Franzen, and you got all those guys that have worked so hard together, and they've become cohesive. Where some teams you get division or whatever from skill player to lineman, and our linemen are we've made it a priority that those guys get celebrated, and the number of steak dinners and the number of sponsored meals that they've gotten throughout the season for limiting sacks and things like that has been really fun. And we've had teams with great skill players in the past. But to put a line group like that together with these skill players, and like I said, I mentioned Christian, but there's Jack Anderson and Robert Ellert, and we mentioned Dane already, and you put those guys out there, and they're kind of a fun group to watch. If you just watch the linemen, they're having a good time out there.
Oh yeah, that's outstanding. Now, Tuesday night you don't have to play; you get a bye, which is good. Every coach likes a bye,
right?
And then you get a home game again Saturday. talk about the home crowds. I mean, this has been amazing.
You know, it's been electric. Our games at Otter Stadium have always been fun. You know, I've been coaching here for, like I said, 15, 16 years. And when you get a home game, it's always a little extra adrenaline rush. But then, you know, our crowds, especially when your team's doing well, we typically have a good following. But the weather's been so nice, and people have a vested interest in Fergus Falls Otter football. And, you know, it gives you that extra boost. And we felt like we had to take advantage of that opportunity on Wednesday night. You know, we had to play Morris at Morris twice last year, and that's a tough place to play. They're a well-coached football team, very disciplined. And so, you know, you add that element of getting the 12th man. You know, our kids feed off of that, and we can't express the gratitude there's no way to put it in words to our community and our student body and all the support we get from the folks that come cheer our boys on.
All right. Thanks, Coach, for pinch hitting for your head coach here, Chris Grabowska, and Shane Tilke, defensive coordinator, joining us on the program. Good luck to the Otters this week.
My pleasure. Thanks, Craig.
All right. We'll continue with more conversation here on a Saturday morning after we take a break on News Talk 1250 KBRF and streaming online through the Fergus Now app.
Starting lineup with America's 3 favorite truck brands, Ford, Ram, and GMC. Nelson Auto can help you enjoy your time out on the road. Check out our starting lineup at Nelson Auto Center, Fergus Falls.
Hi, my name is Lori from LB Homes in Fergus Falls, Minnesota. We are growing our talented and dedicated team of LPNs, CNAs, and RNs, and we want to hear from you. Join our team and make a difference in the lives of our residents every day. To explore or apply, visit lbhomes.org/careers or call Heather at 218-998-1400. LB Homes, caring for you wherever you call home.
High-quality local embroidery for your community. Running Stitches is the choice for everything, from business logos to team apparel and personal projects. They bring your designs to life. Andrew and Allison Olson from Running Stitches Embroidery are proud supporters of local sports.
Quality Toyota is proud to salute the achievements of each quality player. It takes teamwork to compete, and the Quality Player Award recognizes the extra effort by an individual in each athletic contest. Quality Toyota commends the hard work, dedication, and quality efforts of these outstanding youth. That attitude will help each quality player as they go forward. Congratulations to each of the quality players from Quality Toyota on West Lincoln Avenue in Fergus Falls. QualityToyota.net. Let's go places.
Hey, welcome back to the program. We welcome Bernard Holsey in for the interview about Spartan football. Bernard, the head coach of the Spartans in his first year in that position, second year with the Spartan football program. And you get a home game in the playoffs today, Coach, 2 o'clock.
Yes, sir.
Against Vermilion. You've already seen them once.
Yes, sir.
So tell me how that all played out. There's been, Minnesota West had to forfeit some games. What was the play-out situation
They
there?
did. I didn't know for sure. I heard little rumblings of, there was a situation where an eligible player was played. I don't know the ins and outs of it. I just know that, it's unfortunate for them. And I say that because I had before the season, I had a conversation with their head coach, and really good guy. And ironically, we actually played against each other in college. He went to East Carolina and I went to Duke, but great guy. And it's unfortunate that they had to do that because, that honestly could have happened to any coach because there's a lot of things you can't, you don't have control over. And, you try to do your best as far as making sure that guys are eligible, but, sometimes it's some things you miss. So,
yeah, some things slip through the cracks,
Absolutely.
At every level, it seems. So, Bernard, you've played Vermilion once before. You had a really good game against them.
Sir.
That was the game where your defense returned 3 interceptions for
sir.
touchdowns. That doesn't happen often.
No, it does not. We actually play well. And it was kind of our coming out party. You could see signs of it throughout, the first 3 games, but, we really put it together, and put it together at the right time. And it was, fitting, especially, it being a home game. So it was, very good.
Well, and you followed that up with a good win, too, over a Rochester
Yes,
team
sir.
that is good, and you took advantage of some turnovers in that one, too.
Yes, sir. We try to, pride ourselves on, being stingy defense and, taking away the ball and putting our offense in a better position, So I think, we have a good balance of offense, defense. and special teams as well. I think special teams, gets overlooked. I think our special teams have been provided us with better field position, been consistent. We've had a couple of hiccups, but, overall, I think our special teams has played an intricate part in keeping our team in the ball game.
As far as the numbers that you're dealing with right now, and this, you get through this point of the season, and injuries that happen to every team.
Yes, sir.
It hurts your depth. What are you looking at there as far as the numbers that you have coming into today?
We're low on numbers, but there's been quite a few guys that stepped up, and we have several different guys that play defensive line that have, been more than willing to step over to the offensive line. We're a little thin on the offensive line part, but the guys have really stepped in and embraced, the challenge of playing both sides of the ball. And I tell guys all the time, I said, it's almost like we're, I'm coaching high school again, because I coached at a small high school where, all our players, predominantly most of our players that started played on offense and defense. So it's nothing new for me. Most of the guys have played both ways, a time or two. Obviously we're asking them to do a lot, but, they've accepted the challenge and been more than willing to do it. So I'm very happy in that aspect.
Rashad Madden had, 200-yard rushing game for you against Rochester. Sir. He's got that ability. Mm-hmm. Your emphasis today against Vermilion, will it be trying to establish the run, or do you kind of mix the pass in early?
We'll take what they give us. But obviously we want to run the ball. I think that's been our mainstay as far as our offense, and it complements our defense very well in that aspect.
Well, and it's not just Rashad, right?
No.
You have Zach Sanders who can run it, and they're healthy. And...
Yeah, and DeAndre Napier, he is an explosive player. We have a good cast of running backs and actually receivers that can run the ball too. There's some good guys on offense.
Now, you've had two quarterbacks kind of working on different points of the game. Has that been because of injury, because of just you like the variety they bring?
Well, it's just variety and the feel, and both of them are young quarterbacks, but you just had to do what's best for the team, and they've been understanding in that, and I'm glad they have, because sometimes it's hard when you're starting quarterback and then you put somebody else in. So that I think guys have embraced it very well, and I'm appreciative of them for embracing it. The understanding of hey, this might not be working, so we might need to go with somebody else. And they've been kind of piggybacking off each other and been more supportive of each other, which I like. Are
they different style quarterbacks?
I think so. In some ways, yeah, but I think both of them do some things different, and they both do a lot of things in the same aspect. So,
okay, is one of them a better passer, Evan Schiffers or Cole Cashman?
I wouldn't say. No, I think both of them are pretty good passers, honestly.
Okay, so it's not a situation where if we're going to run the ball more in this series, we'll put this guy in.
No, not at all.
I remember Tom Landry doing that with Craig Morton and Roger Staubach back probably before your time.
I do remember him, man. I was really young. Yeah, I do. It was before my time.
Yeah, I say I'm old, but it was like every series you put it. That would be. I guess they knew that was going to happen, but it is kind of a feel, like you said, as the game is going on.
It is. Yeah. It is.
Okay. So the crowd here at home games is outstanding. It's a great setting. You've seen a lot of football fields all around the country and stadiums, and but this is a great atmosphere for a home football game.
I agree. It brings a hometown feel, and I'm born and raised in a small town, so I understand. I just remember there was a local high school that was in our town, and people used to do the same thing, bring lawn chairs, and people come from different parts of the city and just come and watch the ball game. So I appreciate that, the hometown feel.
So at the start of this year, you came in as the head coach, kind of, okay, what do we got? How are we going to put this together? How are we going to make it work? And now here we are 7-8 weeks into the season schedule.
Yes, sir.
Where are you most pleased with the progress that you have seen with this group?
I think the maturity and understanding what I wanted to get accomplished. We want to win ball games, but it's also about learning the game and learning how to be the professional aspect of learning how to be a college football player. I know there's always a stigma on junior college football where, it's kind of chaotic, and I wanted to get away from that and let guys know that, that's not necessarily the way to go. And when you get to a 4-year school, most coaches aren't going to put up with that. You know, this is how to behave on the field, off the field. You know, and academics are a stressor for me. I definitely stress that tremendously, and my guys know it. You know, they know if they, you know, we make sure we're on them about their academics, because if you don't have academics, it doesn't make any difference how good you are on the field. You can't progress to another school or, you know, go further.
So how much of your role at the end of the season, when this season is over, how do you see your role working with these guys, trying to get to that next level, the guys that want to keep playing football? Are you a big advocate for them, reaching out to coaches?
Absolutely. And in fact, I've reached out throughout the season. There's several different teammates that I've had over in the past years, whether it's college, professional, that I've reached out to. And there's several different coaches that have reached out to me from other schools. So I'm definitely going to make them available and try to promote them as much as possible.
You know, with the digital thing and the technology that's out there, Bernard, has changed a lot since you were in school, obviously.
Definitely has. I just, you know, I've never been a social media guy. I had to get my Twitter account, so, and some of my players are kind of, you know, keeping me up to speed on that. But, you know, that's a big traffic way of getting in touch with coaches as well as players. So it's been a good way to meet new faces and meet new guys and keep my connections open as well.
I would think that's just made the recruiting game just so different to have the video out there. You can watch high school games now and recruit kids without leaving your office.
Oh, yeah. It definitely makes it a little easier than I know that when my coaches were recruiting me, the coaches that recruited me in college, I know they came to games and they were watching the entire game film versus just watching clips. So it definitely makes it easier. But, you know, it also can make it a little difficult sometimes because for me, there's certain things that I watch for, you know, obviously every high school player or every player that wants to get recruited wants to put their best out there, but you also want to see them in adverse situations and see how they respond. You know, that's how I can tell, you know, what kind of fortitude this gentleman has, what kind of mental attitude he has, where is his mental state when things aren't going well. So those are things that I look at as a coach.
And you want to get out and meet them and get to know them.
Yes, sir.
And see what kind of character they have.
Absolutely.
So how much of that have you been able to do during this busy stretch to watch high school games or contact high school coaches about kids? It kind of gets to be a day-to-day thing where you're in your own world.
Yeah, I mean, I've done it, and I try to be consistent about it. I try to, as much as I spend, you know, as far as time on getting prepared for the next week's game, I still try to spend a little time recruiting, and I have coaches that have been doing that too as well, and they'll talk to me about different gentlemen that have reached out or they've contacted. So we'll have like short meetings about that and go back and forth about, you know, whether this is a good fit, maybe not a good fit, you know, because it's all about fit, you know. Right. You can, and I don't want to be critical of, you know, athletes or, you know, student athletes, but also know, you know, what my expectations are, and, you know, as there are certain things I won't bend on, you know, I don't necessarily want to go in, you know, it doesn't have to be the best player. It just has to be the player that shows the most effort, and you're going to get that consistency throughout, you know, from week 1 to week 10 or how many other games you play.
And you'll get the feel, I'm sure, in talking to them and viewing their video and everything, if it's a fit or not, like you said.
Absolutely.
So what is your message to the team today after that 62-16 win the first time around against Vermilion? You don't want them to think, oh, this is going to be easy.
Well, I reminded them of our playoff game last year when we played CLC. I reminded them all week. We played them, you know, CLC, we played them the first game of the season last year, and then all of a sudden, you know, we beat them by almost 20, and then it was almost the exact reverse. And also want to remind them of, you know, Vermilion is a good team. I mean, they beat the two teams that we got beat by. They beat Central Lakes and they beat Mesabi. So, you know, you can't get complacent and say, well, just because we won 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, we're going to just roll out here and win. It doesn't happen like that. We have to play and play well.
That's football, isn't it?
Yes, sir. It is.
On any given Sunday.
Yep.
Or Saturday in this case.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right. Well, we wish you the best. 2 o'clock today, Spartan fans, get out and take in the action against Vermilion. If the Spartans win, they'll play again next Sunday, I believe it is, right?
Yes, sir.
In either Minnesota West or Rochester.
I think they
believe.
I think so. I'm not sure. They did say something about playing science as well. So I don't know how it's going to play out. I just try to take one game at a time and then see who we play.
Wherever they tell you to go, you're going to take your team, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Very good. Thanks, Bernard, for coming in and talking about your team.
Well,
Appreciate
thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. Bernard Holsey, the head coach of the Spartan football team, 2 o'clock today at M-State for their game against Vermilion. We'll take time out and come back with more. Dan Zierden's here to talk Otter volleyball on the other side of the break on News Talk 1250 KBRF and streaming live on the Fergus Now app.
Here's to a great season for all our favorite high school athletes. American Legion is a favorite too and serves up everyone's favorite barbecued ribs. American Legion of Fergus Falls, open each Wednesday through Saturday on Pebble Lake Road in Fergus Falls.
Are you looking for a small SUV that drives like a car? Look no further than the Chevy Trax at Minnesota Motor Company in Fergus Falls. The Trax has an impressive amount of safety features and is designed to keep your cargo secure and passengers comfortable. With an MSRP starting around $23,000, it's a great buy. Contact the sales team to schedule a test drive today. Together, let's drive. Minnesota Motor. South Pebble Lake Road, Fergus Falls.
You hear that? It's the sound of the herd coming through.
Touchdown, Bison!
The Bison look to return to the top of the FCS mountain.
Underneath, and it is intercepted. Intercepted by the Bison.
Join us this Saturday as the Bison take on the South Dakota State Jackrabbits in an FCS playoff rematch. Our coverage begins at 6 on your home for Bison football.
Champions play here. News Talk, 1250 AM, KBRF.
Brand Camp, where businesses build their brand.
His name was Brad, and he was a kitchen guy. He had a good business, but then he discovered a way to make it a great business. How did he do that? Well, Brad discovered the secret of having a differentiating idea, a difference maker. What's your difference maker? Your reason why people should buy from you. Now, if you said quality of service, you flunked the test, because everybody says that, and no one believes those words anymore. Brand Camp can help you with your true difference maker. If you own or run a business, pull up a log, get around the campfire, and learn 40 years worth of marketing knowledge in just 180 minutes. Discover your difference maker by joining us at Brand Camp. And just like our friend Brad was glad he did, you will be too.
Brand Camp, where businesses build their brand.
Brand Camp is Wednesday, October 30th from 8:30 to noon at the Bigwood Event Center. Register today at Layton.media.
Welcome back to the program Saturday morning, and we're here from 8 to 9:30 during the fall and winter sports season. We got a couple of weeks between seasons here coming up in November leading up to Thanksgiving, but that's in the future. For right now, it's playoff time, folks. The football playoffs start on Tuesday. The volleyball playoffs start. Actually, there are some games Monday night in volleyball around the regions of play-in games in Class A. The Otters will not start until Thursday, and we don't know who they play or where they play yet. We have a good idea, but they don't start till Thursday, and the seeding is tomorrow. Dan Zierden is the assistant to Sabrina Noon, one of the assistants with the Otter program, and it was a busy week, Dan.
We had a busy week. It's just the way it works out sometimes, right? They try to schedule the games that they can, and this week we had a Monday game, Tuesday game, and then a Thursday tournament. So not a lot of practice going on this week.
The good news is it was all at home.
It was all at home. That was actually very, very good news. And it was kind of fun to see how the girls reacted to that. You know, not having those practices. You're a little concerned about them getting a little wore down, that sort of thing. But they pulled through, played very, very well, very, very good at volleyball.
Well, if you're going to have a week like this, I think why not have it right before playoffs? Because that's kind of going to be your playoff schedule. You're not going to get all that practice time from here on out.
Correct, right. And also, it's nice to see, kind of zone in on where those girls are fitting in. You work on that all season, obviously. Right. But when you can have 5 games, 6 games within a week, it really helps you kind of zero in on who's playing well and where they're playing well and how they're communicating and all of those little things that play such a big part in volleyball.
Yeah, and kind of keep in game mode there from day to day. You beat Perham on Monday night.
We did. Yeah, that was a fun night. Perham's got a great team, and we played well. We haven't done that a lot this year, but that's what we've kind of seen in this last week. Not only did we play well, but we played the entire game, and that's where we've struggled. You know, we have moments of brilliance, and we've got the girls that are lights out, but getting them to stay engaged and focused for 3 full sets, 4 full sets, just hasn't happened as much as we'd like this year. But it did. It did on Monday.
The way that match started, I want to review what Sabrina said. That first set here, you know, you're down 24-22 in the first set.
Right.
You know, so that now already it's like, oh no, we're serving set point here. We're going to get behind. Point 23, got a kill from Bryn Sternberg. 24, an ace from Sternberg. Point 25 to take the lead, a kill from Bella Anderson, and then a hitting error by Perham. I'm sure they were flustered after that little run there.
Absolutely.
But what a great way to see your team rally in that situation, because, you know, it's hard to rattle off consecutive points when you're facing a set point every time.
It absolutely is. And we've been on the flip side of that many times this year and haven't found that grit or that energy to pull it out, to just finish the match.
Yep.
So to see us do it on the backside of that is really exciting.
And Sabrina said that you're up 2-0 and there was a drop in energy in the third set. How often do you see that in volleyball, right? One team goes up 2-0.
It's so often, and I don't get it. I obviously love to play the game, and when I'm up, and you have a hard time slowing me down. But it happens so often at every level. You know, not even just high school. It's the college. It's the upper levels as well, where you relax a little bit,
right?
You know, and you can't in this sport. It's not like the time's going to run out and you're going to win the game. You can't relax. It's got to be 100% all of the time to finish and get it done. But the girls came back.
Yeah, to their credit, they came back and survived that and got the win in 4 sets. But you see it a lot where you let up, the other team knows, oh, we got to win this match, this set, or the match is over. Yep. And then all of a sudden they win 3-2, and that you don't like that.
So, no, absolutely no.
But you got good performances there, good momentum there. And the thing that I've noticed in the reports that I've gotten from you guys is so many different kids are contributing, you know, and I had I've had the girls on TV and talked about the variety of hitters that you have. There are a lot of options right now in that offense.
A lot of options. Not only the options that are playing, we've got great girls coming off the bench. So if we have a lull, if we have that little mind break, we've got girls that we feel comfortable throwing in and have performed very, very well on JV and, you know, have gotten some opportunities on varsity where we're comfortable making sure that the best team is on the court at that moment, you know, and it's at that moment that is really crucial in volleyball. And that's fun. We haven't had that in years. I mean, these are our starters, and from there it's kind of like, we've got girls, but, you know, not the right girls. And we have that this year.
Makes for some competitive practices, I'm sure, too.
It helps that as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No question, right? When you've got girls nipping at your heels every day, you're going to have to perform. And that's a great place to be.
And everybody loves a big kill or a big block, you know, but we know, too, and coaches know how valuable the first touch is on both sides of the net. You got to have a strong serving game to make the point happen in the first place, but you've also got to be able to pick up the serve and get the offense going. And you seem to have really had some great improvements in the back part of the
defense runs the show. I mean, no question. If it doesn't start out right, it can't end right. You can maybe keep the ball in play, but to get those kills, to get those ball placements, the defense needs to control all of that, and they've done a great job. Just seem to have developed very well through the season, gotten a little bit more relaxed, which is a big part of playing defense. The best defenders are the ones that make it look easy, right? They're not. They look like they're not working that hard, but all of a sudden the ball's up in play, and we're seeing that. We're not seeing the jumping and the flailing and all of that. It's just relaxed volleyball that we've seen this week, and that's been very exciting for us coaches to witness.
Hannah Johnson's been so consistent for you back there at the libero spot.
Yeah. No, she's just a steady force, you know, and she's been reading things so well where, again, she makes it look easy. You look at her and go, oh, she's not that good, but it's because of her knowledge and her reading and her positioning, and that she can make those plays and make it look like nothing.
Right.
And then, yeah, Elena Ullman steps in there when we need her. You know, Brooke Zierden has been doing a really nice job. Bryn Sternberg's just a rock wherever she is, front row, back row.
Mm-hmm.
So all in all, the things are starting to mesh a little bit, and it's been good to see.
And with the young setter, too, Aubrey Ade has stepped in and learned her hitters and learned her options, and that progress has been evident.
It is, and that is a progress thing, right? I mean, she's got a lot to take in and a lot to try to understand and work through, and she's improved tremendously through this season. She was great when we started, but just like that, like you said, that individual connection with each hitter is a lot. It's a lot to take in, a lot to figure out. And she's just a student of the game and loves to compete. And she's willing to put in that extra time and to do those things. And it's paying some dividends right now.
Well, and then you have the veteran, too, in Kendall Hansen, who it seems when she gets her opportunities out there is ready to deliver.
Kendall's been amazing. So all of our seniors, honestly, this year, they've been there when we've needed them, and Kendall for sure has been that person. You know, whether we need her for 2 rotations, 1 rotation, she's always ready, and she's always making plays, and she's got such great hands, and still knows those girls. I mean, she's been playing with them for 8, 9, 10 years, so she can step in a heartbeat and take some of that pressure off Aubrey. You know, with being young, you can get flustered a little bit. You can get a little tired. You know, it's fast-paced games. So Kendall's been amazing at just stepping in there whenever we need her and doing what we need her to do to get us out of that rotation, to get things moving again in the right direction.
You honored your seniors Tuesday in the Apollo match. Talk about your seniors. You've got a good group of seniors.
We do have a great group of seniors. So, yeah, we had the senior night on Tuesday, Apollo. Not a super strong team, but you got to look at Apollo, too, and look at the massive people that they're pulling from. So it's not like they're nobody to be reckoned with.
Right.
And we were fortunate to be able to play almost all of our seniors most of the night, and it was fun. It was a really fun night because they performed. You know, they had some of the same struggles that we saw during the year, where we would drop 3 or 4, and now we're down 22 to 15. But every time they battle back, you know, and that's the true leadership that that you get to see, where getting down is one thing, but being able to come back and finish those games is another. And they did it every single time. You know, we've got Elena Ullman. She's new this year to Fergus Falls, but has been very, very solid for us. Danica, we forgot to talk about her on defense earlier.
Another good defender,
Danica's been just a tremendous player for us all year. Bella Anderson, obviously, we've talked about. Kendall Hansen, obviously, we've talked about. Ella Roberts, just a spark plug back there. She hasn't gotten as much playing time as, you know, she had probably hoped, or we had probably hoped, just because it's such a battle for those positions. But she had a fantastic game on Tuesday. Morgan Welly has been a rock for us. Bryn Sternberg, Ari Kruger. So she's been obviously with the team since day one. She's our heart and soul. So to get her in there, to get more minutes, which, you know, you'd like to do all year, but doesn't always work out. It was amazing. And whenever she's out there, she's giving 110%. She's swinging hard. She's doing things with the ball that you don't necessarily expect with the limited playing time, but it's amazing to see because she still has that confidence and she has the ability. So she also had a great night on Tuesday. And then Addie Curry got in there for a game or two. One of those two that's just been with the program so long and is really good friends with all these girls, and really fun to see them, you know, get a little bit of playing time, even though most of the year they've been just supporting their team, doing their part to make sure that we're successful.
Well, you've got such great numbers through the whole program. So
yeah, Sabrina's done a tremendous job starting them young and getting them excited, and it's starting to show. You know, it takes a little bit of time to build, but those numbers are coming, and there's competition, you know, from that 6th grade level all the way up. So, girls have to be looking over their shoulder a little bit right now. They didn't used to have to do that because there just weren't the numbers there.
Right.
But they're coming.
Tell us about Thursday, the Blocktoberfest tournament. You got to play a lot of volleyball Thursday.
We did. We had four games on Thursday. We won 3 of them.
Yep.
And honestly, that 4th one was ours to lose. We won the first set fairly easily, it felt, and then that letdown kind of carried into the 2nd and 3rd. But from there, the girls picked it up. We took on a very good Minnewaska team, who we played in Alexandria a few weeks ago. Had a battle, a 3-game battle with them in Alec. So to be able to watch those girls come out and beat a team that we knew we could beat, but we also knew it was going to be a battle, that was a great start. And then Pelican Rapids and Winamac.
Yeah.
Yep, Winamac.
Yeah.
So just a great progression on the day, and how the girls responded. And you talked about, having those big kills and how important that is, but the girls just did a great job taking care of the ball, doing what needed to be done to find that next point. And that's where our success came that day.
The word I kept seeing in Sabrina's recap of that day was we controlled our play out there. We
100%.
controlled it. Yeah, we are
100%.
under control.
Right. And that's where volleyball is. I mean, you have 100% control on your side.
Yep.
And whether the team on the other side is good or not, if you're making errors, it doesn't matter. Right. So if you can keep that ball in play, put it away when it's there, control it when it's not, that's where these girls have really stepped up in this last week and shown us that they can minimize those errors. They can make those right choices. So
and you can keep an even keel, right? I mean,
that's hard to do, especially for me. But but that's a big part of the game as well.
It is very hard to do in volleyball. There's a lot of this in volleyball, right?
A lot of that.
Yeah.
Yep, ups and downs. It's a crazy mental sport. But
momentum shifts all the time. It seems.
Right. Yep. Yeah. 1 point can turn into 5 in a heartbeat.
Yeah. You wind up with that momentum, and you're scoring 8 in a row, and then all of a sudden the other team scores 8 in a row. It's like, wait a minute.
Right.
What happened there? Flip the switch. Okay, we don't know who we're playing Thursday yet.
We don't.
But it could be DL, could be Tech, right?
Correct. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be one of those two, and we're going to be happy with either one. Both teams that we know we can beat, both teams that we lost to this season, but that's okay, right? I mean, playoffs is a fun time to be the underdog.
Yeah.
You can just go in there and, trying to keep that even keel, like you said. You can be a little bit more relaxed because you're not expected to win. But the way these girls are playing, I'm expecting it. So I hope you're listening, ladies.
Yeah, there you go. And it's nice to have that kind of a feeling going into the playoffs that we're playing well. We feel like we can do some damage. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, because it starts up here.
Believing. That is it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
It's such a mental sport.
You bet. Hey, Dan, thanks for coming in, talking about the Otter girls.
Yeah, thanks
Appreciate
for
it.
having us. We're done already.
I know. Just like that. Go fast?
It does go fast.
Oh, man, I even gave you an extra minute. Joel's going to be mad at me now. Now, we're going to take a break and talk Otter boys soccer. Their season came to an end the other night against St. Cloud Cathedral, best team in the state, according to the polls. And we'll find out about the season for the Otters. What a great playoff run it was. So don't go away. More to come on News Talk 1250 KBRF and on the Fergus Now app, streaming online.
Fantastic starting lineup with America's 3 favorite truck brands, Ford, Ram, and GMC. Nelson Auto can help you enjoy your time out on the road. Check out our starting lineup at Nelson Auto Center, Fergus Falls.
I'd like you to save yourself another year of frustration. Hi, this is Zola from PlanZDiet.com. If you started in January with the goal of losing weight, then I'm here to tell you it's still not too late. If you can follow a few simple rules, then you can lose a lot of weight and fast. My average client loses 31 pounds in 50 days. Do you want to get thinner by starting a diet in January, or do you want to be thinner by Thanksgiving? It's your choice. Imagine the jaws dropping when you walk into that family gathering this year. You'll succeed in weeks, not months, not years. And if you're skeptical, I don't blame you. Let me just say this. Give Plan Z a shot, and I'll give you a guarantee. Plan Z works. Plan Z dieters are in 47 states and 6 countries. You'll be in good company. I explain everything at PlanZDiet.com. Hop on this and you'll get special pricing too, because you deserve a better diet. PlanZDiet.com.
finding that missing shin guard, remembering whether it's a home or away game, getting the right kid to the right playing field on the right day. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. We work with independent agents who keep insurance simple so you can worry about more important things, like not being that fan. Oh, come on, Ref! That's simple human sense.
Visit the Arneson Agency at their new location, 120 East Lincoln, Fergus Falls. High-quality local embroidery for your community. Running Stitches is the choice for everything, from business logos to team apparel and personal projects. They bring your designs to life. Andrew and Allison Olson from Running Stitches Embroidery are proud supporters of local sports.
Quality Toyota is proud to salute the achievements of each quality player. It takes teamwork to compete, and the Quality Player Award recognizes the extra effort by an individual in each athletic contest. Quality Toyota commends the hard work, dedication, and quality efforts of these outstanding youth. That attitude will help each quality player as they go forward. Congratulations to each of the quality players from Quality Toyota on West Lincoln Avenue in Fergus Falls. QualityToyota.net. Let's go places.
Grant County. Your news leader is News Talk 1250 AM KBRF Fergus Falls. Depend on it.
Welcome back to the program. We're talking Otter Boys soccer. What a great playoff run for the Otters. Joel Heikus is here, the head coach of the Otters. Man, you got that number 4 seed, so you got a home game to begin with. You're going to play that first round game. You wanted at home and took care of business there against East Grand. Then you have to play number 1 Pelican Rapids in the semis, the subsection in Pelican, win in a thrilling shootout there after scoreless overtimes. Then you have to play number 2 Hillcrest out at D Lagoon on what they're using as their home field, and you shut them out. And for that great run, you get the reward of playing the best team in the state, St. Cloud Cathedral. But you have to feel good, Joel, about the way that tournament just played out. Your guys answered the call.
Yeah, very good. And I said all year long, we had our section was really, really close. Hillcrest and Pelican, they played well all year long. And but I really felt the way QRF dropped down, I didn't think we were, and I told our guys, we are not a 4th place team, but that's fine. We get an extra home game and we get to go out and prove it. And that's exactly what they did. They stepped up and fought hard. And yeah, that Pelican game was one of the more exciting games. I think that Hillcrest game 2 years ago where we went into shootouts as well was probably equal to, but just so exciting. The fans definitely got what they came for. So.
Oh, well, and the way it started, where you had to wait around for, for whatever it was, 45 minutes later than you should have been warming up.
Yep.
When the game started, and because of the overtime in the girls' game, and then to have the physical, it seemed like that game just did not have a lot of flow to it. There were so many stoppages and delays and conversations, and it just was hard to get anything flowing.
Yeah, and it really showed the mental toughness of our team to come back from down 3-1. That was, like you say, that second half. Then we finally started getting some things clicking, and that brought it back. And so we really went into that overtime with the momentum, and into the shootout with the momentum, I would say. And that was, it can be big.
So Aiden Godwin stops the shot, and then he takes the shot in the penalty kick shootout and scores a game-winning goal for you. It doesn't happen often that the goalkeeper maybe does that.
Yeah, maybe not real often. Our last shootout we did, we put our goalkeeper in there as well. To me, it boils down to who's got the ice in their blood, and Aiden definitely has that. He doesn't get too shook up, and you can see that. He stopped two PK shots. That takes confidence, and putting him out there, that was very exciting to see him get the final shot.
And then your matchup last Saturday with Hillcrest, and there's such a great rivalry between Fergus and Hillcrest. You know each other well. The guys know each other well. You and Rod Jensen know each other well, and not a lot of secrets about what you're going to be doing or what Rod's going to be doing that game.
No, there's not. You can't really cook up anything new hardly there, but yeah, what a great team to play against and with. Rod sent me a message later. He's like, I really like playing, knowing that there's not a big chance of injury going in, because I would say we're two pretty clean teams, out there trying to play soccer the right way, and have a ton of respect for their program and that whole team. they battled hard and was a real fun game.
You got a goal early on in that one that got set the tone for you. And Beja Gustav and Aiden Shaky have been pretty competitive up front for you this year, and they play with a lot of intensity out there and some good speed, and just kind of got you going that day.
Yeah, they really did. And finally, we started the season. They had weren't always the best at passing the ball. You had strikers, they want to take it right to the net. And that play was just perfect. Beja took it deep into the corner and passed it across right when he needed to, and very easy goal for Shaky to make. And that's what we've been kind of stressing all year long. You up on striker, you can cross the ball, you can drop the ball. A lot of times that's your best option, and then that'll open up scoring opportunities. And then it flip-flopped later in the game for Beja. So, yeah, that was really nice to see a beautiful soccer play.
Well, and in that, Aiden Godwin, he's been so good for you down the stretch, and he answered the call that day, for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. He stopped a couple of real tough ones. Our defense did well, not really giving him much. Zane Holmquist had one breakaway, though, that Aiden judged it correctly and kind of must have intimidated just enough and saved that from being a goal. And so, yeah, he stopped some tough shots.
He shared goaltending during the year with Kyle Beck, and we've talked about the situation a couple of times on our pregame shows about why Aiden in goal today ahead of Kyle, and you mentioned on each occasion Kyle just brings so much to us out there on the field, and he did in that game for sure.
Oh, huge. Yeah, he had an assist in that game, and it was big. We had him at mid a little bit and at defense a little bit, and you can just count on him doing a good job every time.
How about the midfield? I mean, you had such good control of the midfield in your games this year, and especially in the playoff run with Jaden Heikus and Marshall Feldbaum leading the way out there.
Yeah, they control the ball. They know the game so well, and they have the stamina and speed to play both defense and offense multiple times. They can get up and down field. And, yeah, Jaden got recognized. He got the Section 8A All-State Tournament team. He got chosen. That's chosen by a group of coaches and people down, I suppose, around the cities area. And
sure.
So we got that message last week. So that was exciting, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Love to see the guys get the recognition at the state level. For sure. It pays off, all that hard work.
Absolutely. And in that midfield, you don't always show the big scoring numbers, a lot of times big assists, but yeah, it's the hard work all year long, controlling that ball, like you say, making good choices and setting people up.
You got the assignment to play Cathedral then for the section championship, and going in, this is going to be a tough game for us. I mean, they can score. 98 goals to 10, I think it was after your game that they have outscored their opponents. That's incredible. But we talked before that game about what's your strategy here? Do you kind of be overly aggressive and try to get one early and get up on them, or do you play back and just kind of try to limit their damage? And your defense, I thought the first half, you did a great job. You're down 1-0 at halftime and kind of right where you wanted to be.
Yeah, it would have been nice to keep that one out at the beginning. But, I would love to see what that game looks like if we weren't dinged up. Right away, a couple minutes in, we lose Coulter McGinnis, which he's been such a staple for us on defense. Well, that means we got to move some people around because we don't have a ton of depth. So then we drop Kyle back there to help out on defense. And then about halfway through first half, he gets a shot, shoulder, I think, to the head, and he's out the rest of the game for concussion protocol. So, that really affected the way we could put pressure on, because then we talked Marshall and Jaden. That meant they were dropping back more to help on D, because now we're rotating and we're pulling Zane back off of our mid or striker position, putting him in D. It really limited our offensive pressure. But yeah, we that first goal was a good goal, real tough one to manage. So going into the half, yeah, I thought 1-0. This is all right. If we can steal one, it would have kind of been stealing one. But if we could get one, we could still really be in this. And even coming out the second half, we stood strong till Jaden took a shot, ball right to where you don't want him, and so he had to come out for a little bit. It was tough, and he'd been on their leading scorer, that number 14, I think it was.
Jacob Oliver, yeah.
Yeah, scored 41 goals this year. He'd been on them all game. And all the corners they had, Jaden, through working in the weight room, has really got a vertical. didn't give him anything. Well, Jaden came out 30 seconds later. He finds the back of the net, and it was like, ooh. And boy, I couldn't. I was planning on keeping Jaden out a little longer to, make sure he was good, but he was like, no, I got to get back in there. And so yeah, they stood strong. The team as a whole, they really fought hard for a good part of the game.
One thing Cathedral I thought did really well was just quick strikes. I mean, they've been moving the ball, and then all of a sudden there's a break in the pass, and they're in on you. You know, they just did a really good job creating some really quick scoring opportunities and delivering.
Yeah, and they would sneak that guy on the backside, and like you say, take that quick strike up, usually up the right side, and then they'd cross it out to that guy that we'd forgotten about, because, well, honestly, at that point, with most of the guys not getting any rest, getting pretty banged up. I mean, at halftime, we were fixing up bleeding players all over and icing up, and they battled hard. Alec Prishman, man, he had a game. He covered up a lot of guys on defense, and yeah, he was he was all bandaged up by the end of that game, but he had a phenomenal game as well.
Yeah, just a great tournament run, great season. You have to feel good about it going into the off season, and certainly I think the young guys coming back for next year kind of will feed off this experience that you had in the playoffs.
Yeah, I hope so. And we really met the goals that we had set out, and we knew coming into Cathedral. I mean, you look at the year they had. They're a really good team, and they're always going to be that battle for us as long as we're in single A. And so we won the games we needed to win, and we put together a really, really good, fun season.
Cathedral going to win the state title this year?
This year they might have a shot at it.
Yeah.
Yep. No, I knew last year they probably weren't going to be there, but they're gonna be right there.
Might be their best chance. Yeah,
Yep, it certainly might.
All right, Joel, thanks so much for coming in. Great season.
Thanks a lot, Craig.
Fun covering it.
Absolutely.
Joel Hike is the head coach of the Otter Boys soccer team, and we'll be back to talk Otter tennis. We've got a couple of girls headed to state. Jamie will tell us about it on the other side of the break as our show continues on News Talk 1250 KBRF and streaming online on the Fergus Now app.
Portions of today's program may be pre-recorded.
I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with your forecast from the KBRF Weather Center. A dense fog advisory continues until 11 a.m. today. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times today, with daytime highs approaching 62. West winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Clear skies tonight, lows level off around 48. Daytime highs approaching 76. Tomorrow, ample sunshine expected. Right now, it's 50 degrees.
It's truck season at Minnesota Motor Company in Fergus Falls. What does that mean? It means well-qualified buyers can finance most new Silverado trucks for 0% APR and no payments for 90 days when they finance with GM Financial. Or they can save up to $10,000 on select Silverado trucks. Contact the sales team at Minnesota Motor Company for details. Together, let's drive.
Minnesota Motor.
South Pebble Lake Road, Fergus Falls.
When I was 7 years old, I spent hours creating duct tape wallets using every last inch of my dad's duct tape rolls. I sat on the street corner with the sun beating down on my neck, eager for my first sale. I made $25 that day and thought I was the richest kid in the world. That same passion and dedication I have then, I bring to my business today. Hi, I'm Josh Sternberg with Sternberg Homes. We don't just remodel kitchen and bathrooms. We craft spaces where memories are made.
Get the Sternberg smile with your next home project. Sternberg Homes at Fergus Falls, renovating the lakes area one home at a time. Check them out at sternberghomes.com.
Here in Minnesota, we vote. We regularly lead the nation in voter turnout. And in 2024, we're going to do it again. Because here, you can vote by mail, early in person, or in person on Election Day. Just make sure your voice is heard. Go to mnvotes.gov to find everything you need to know about voting here in Minnesota. Sponsored by the Minnesota Secretary of State and aired by this station.
Hey, welcome back. Saturday morning. We talk sports on Saturday morning on our coaches show. And Jamie Will is here to talk about her Otter girls tennis doubles team that is headed to state and about her team as a whole. Maybe next week we can do a whole kind of season recap.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but right now you're focused in on state.
Yes, we are, for sure.
And how exciting is that as a coach, Jamie? Well, coach and a parent. Here you got a child going down too, but as a coach, you just love for your kids to get that ultimate experience.
For sure. Obviously, that's what we work for every season. This is the first season, and I've been coaching since 2012, that we've had anybody move on. So it's been very exciting for us. And the way that Ashton and Hattie did it was really, really impressive, because you hate to say that your players stunk at all, but when they got to the subsection tournament, they laid an egg that day, and they were giving it their all. They just didn't have their A game. So to regroup for that next week at sections and have the belief that we're going in facing the number 1 seed, so Ashton's in her 4th year in a row going to sections. She's faced Tech every time and lost every time. And so we see Tech on the docket as the number 1 seed, and they weren't afraid of anything. And so we practiced a few different tactical things, but mostly we were just talking about the mental aspect. Like, we belong here. You belong here. Let's go just play how we can play and not be too nervous about it. And Ashton and Hattie did a great job with that.
Well, it all comes down to any sport. And you've played enough to know, too, you have to believe that you can do it, that you're good enough to be where you're at, right?
Yeah, yes. And we were talking about, like, obviously you're not going to see Hattie full hard or Ashton. They'll be real cocky or anything like that. But how about a little swagger? Like, let's go out on the court acting like we've done this before a little bit. And they did that. They got some ownership of where they were, and Hattie's been there before, too, and just went out and played their kind of tennis. And obviously, they upset the 1 seed, and then they got to see what was the 2 seed from our side that they had lost to the week before. And we're pretty upset about that loss, honestly. It was a 3-set. It was a tight match, but they just weren't playing as well. They went and smoked them 6-2, 6-0. Like, we practiced all week. One of the girls had a kick serve. We brought in some kick servers to practice against our girls. So Matt Johnson and Jesse Schneeberger were firing away at them all week. And but to turn that around after they lost to them the week before and just go out there and steamroll them was just an awesome, awesome effort.
Yeah, I would think that you were even stunned as the coach that they did it the way they did it in straight sets. Like, what?
Yes, the thing is, I've seen enough of them to know that they had it in them.
Right.
I was just hopeful that they could go out and just perform in that moment and just live in the moment and have some fun out there. And now we're not necessarily the new kids on the block down there all the time showing up like the teams we had played the day before. And but we looked like we belonged there, and it was good. And hopefully the girls have that in their head now.
When you play multiple matches like that in a day, too, it can be draining, not only physically, but more so even mentally, I would think.
Oh, for sure. And so to go into the day, we know that the first round is single elimination. You lose, you're done. But if you win, you're going to play 3 or 4 matches. And the way that their day played out, they ended up with a 4th match for that true second. And all you're guaranteed is 20 minutes. So you get off the court after a big win or a big loss.
Wow.
You go to the bathroom, you fill your water, try to eat something, and it's back out. You got to just dial in. And that's one thing that the girls did so well, is just refocus, realize, okay, here's the next task at hand, because they had no long breaks at all day, because they were the last doubles match on, so we were scheduled at 10:30. I don't think they started till about 11:30, and then it was just 4 matches in a row, and we weren't done till 7.
So with that little gap that you have between matches, what do you do as coach to get them ready for the next match? Is there a lot of talk about specifics about what this team brings to the court? You've already handled some of that, I'm sure, prior to the tournament.
Yes, and we just try to quickly recap what we need to change from this match to the next one. And we had a different game plan for all 4 matches. We knew most of the teams fairly well. We hadn't seen the Bemidji top team yet. They were the ones that got us in the championship. It was still a 7-5, 6-4 match. But we talked about real quick corrections. Let the girls go do what they need to do. And honestly, then I just swivel my head and watch Ruby playing singles on the other court. So the girls take care of their business. And I'm like, make sure you talk to me before you start to warm up again, because once they go up for warm-ups, I can't talk to them until they're 3 games in. But they knew enough going ahead what we had seen from the teams. And honestly, the team that we played in true second was a Brainerd team with a very, very good player who's been to state 3 years. And they had beaten us the week before. And that true second match is a scary match, because you've just come off a loss in the championship. You get your 20 minutes, you regroup, and the winner of this match goes to state and the loser goes home. So to see these girls come out to a team that they had lost to, and they just owned the first set. It was such fantastic tennis, and it was just like a weight lifted that I knew that they were here to play. They weren't devastated by losing the championship, and they got that set 6-2, which, I mean, really upset Brainerd. The second set was another story. And they came out a lot harder at us the second set. But then to go out there and on the line is a state tournament trip, and we go to a tiebreak, of course, because why
Yes.
not just tack in the drama there? And Ashton and Hattie stayed so composed, and it was awesome. It's what every coach wants. It's what the players want. It's what our fans wanted, and what me as a mom wanted for them too.
Yeah, that's outstanding to see them respond the way they did. So these two girls seem to, talk about the Energizer Bunny. I mean, I think maybe they both are that way. Did they still have energy after this day, after it was all done, or were they like wiped?
Well, they still did, and what I was so impressed with, and I actually said it's the peak of what I've seen of them in all of their years, because after the last weekend, I said, when you guys are on the court, let me nitpick you two, and you two are encouraging one another. We make a mistake, we blow it off. We got to have the memory of a goldfish. You get 8 seconds, you forget about that thing, and you learn from it, and you move on. And they did such a great job of keeping each other up, because obviously it's tennis. You're going to miss half your shots. I mean, that's how you win or lose in tennis. You can win 52% of the shots and actually win the match.
Right.
So we have to be really good at just letting the mistakes go. And Ashton and Hattie are such cognitive players. They're both really bright girls, and they think a lot. And I'm like, you're done thinking. You two are playing. I'll come tell you what we need to work on, but you two just keep each other pumped up. And it was the most high energy tennis 4 matches in a row that I've seen from them ever. So that was amazing to watch.
Wow. And when you're in a groove like that, just bring it on.
Yep.
Give me another match.
Yep, let's go.
So what's ahead? What happens this next week at State?
All right. So the teams play down at State on Tuesday and Wednesday. So we will leave Wednesday because the individuals start Thursday. So that tournament goes Thursday, Friday. We'll play Thursday morning at 10 a.m. And the draws came out last week. So we saw our draw. We didn't get a terrible draw because there's 16 teams, but we did draw the number 3 seed from Maple Grove. And that team is 4th in state as a team. And also a very, very solid doubles team. They've been to State 3 times as a doubles team. So we know we've got a really big job on our hands in that first round. But this is one of those situations where, like, we do belong there, but we've got nothing to lose because we're playing the 3 seed. These girls have been here 100 times. Let's just go out and play our best tennis and see what happens. There's a reason you have to play out these. You don't just get the seed and win, right? So, and then the other teams in our quadrant there, because we'll play twice on Thursday, Mounds View and Hastings, and they have been to State as doubles teams 3 times and 2 times respectively. So we know we're going to see good teams. But you know what? We're a good team. So the pressure's on somebody else. It's not on us this time, but to go in there just to swing freely is what I hope we can do. We've been putting in a lot of good practices again, and we're pulling out all the stops with the different kinds of slices and serves and people that we can just collect from our community to keep hitting with the girls. Ruby's sunning and gunning at the girls this week at practice, and it should be an exciting time. Obviously, it's not going to be easy at all, but it'll be good for the girls.
Have to get Matt and Titus out there again, maybe?
Yep. Oh, Matt's been out. Carter Ness. Schneeberger's shoulder's getting tired.
There you go.
Just firing away at the girls. But no, we've got all these great humans in the tennis world that'll come out and work the girls over, and that's what's been happening.
It's so exciting to see this happening for them and knowing their makeup. I mean, hey, they've earned this. Yep. They deserve being there, and let's go out and play,
Yes, and absolutely.
I like it.
And so Norm Newell will be coming down as my assistant coach.
Good.
And Norm has been so instrumental for these girls. And he actually was not there at sections. He was, how dare he vacation every now and again from his volunteer gig. But he was out of town. So the first thing the girls wanted to do was call Norm, and they just started chanting state, state, state. They're so excited to tell him because they know he's put in as much work as we have. Yes.
So Ruby Ellison played in singles at the section meet. And Ruby had such an amazing year as your number 1 singles player. How did her day go?
So it was amazing, honestly. So Ruby at subsections cruised through, didn't drop a set, and so headed into sections as the 1 seed. And we knew our north subsection threw a lot of people in doubles, which is what we've been dealing with then. Well, the south seed had 2 pretty strong singles players, and Ruby ran into one of them the second match. And I told her she met her match. She played another Ruby Ellison. She's going to get every ball back. She's going to be a shot maker. And even though Ruby was playing well, I think sometimes it's hard for high school girls to think, I'm not winning, so I'm not playing well. She was playing well, but she ended up dropping that. And then because that girl in the championship played the top player, and Ruby had already played her, she didn't get the option at a true second. Yeah. But Ruby went out there knowing she was not going to get to state because that match was done. And she went out there and got herself that that third place finish by knocking off Bemidji again. And it's a lot of guts to go out there when you're like, what I was wanting is gone.
Right.
But she still battled and got herself that third place finish. So that was great to see for Ruby.
Well, we'll talk more about Ruby and your whole team next week on the kind of the wrap up to the season, because we had a lot to talk about your whole team and the number of girls that are coming back next year and where this program is at. You've done a great job this year, and look forward to talking about them next week, and look forward to seeing how Ashton and Hattie do at state. So good luck to them.
Should be great. Thanks a lot, Craig.
All right. Thank you. Jamie Will, head coach of the Otter girls tennis team, joining us here on our coaches show Saturday mornings 8 to 9:30. Mark Johnson will be in for me next week, so be sure to tune in for that here on News Talk 1250 KBRF and streaming live on the Fergus Now app. Thanks for tuning in today, and have a great weekend.